Tonight on News 5 Live, Giovanni Ian Lennon is executed as he heads home on Welch Alley. We have more from Barrio Huda, where Guatemalan settlers say they have titles to the land owned by a local businessman and have no desire to relocate. GOB sets fixed prices for butane gas beginning this weekend. BEL inaugurates a new branch office on La Isla Bonita and believes Jaguars still on the road to qualify for the 2021 Gold Cup. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
Smart customers, this is your chance to
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, November 15th. I am Charlie Hutchinson. A firefighter was executed early on Thursday night. He was heading to his house on Welch Street, Belize City, when Giovanni Ian Lennon was ambushed from behind by a gunman who delivered the fatal blast to his head. Lennon had just left the National Fire Service located on Cleghorn Street, where he was training recruits. His family, friends, and colleagues are in shock at the murder of one of their own. Lennon was considered a decent person and had no record with the law, so his execution is puzzling. Police set chase and managed to capture the alleged gunman at the Rogers Stadium. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Giovanni Ian Lennon, better known as Bainey, was on his way home on Welch Alley, which connects Iguana and Gibnut Streets, when he came under gunfire around 7 o'clock. Surveillance footage in the area captured how an unsuspected Lennon walked down the alley and a gunman creeps up behind him before firing a close-range shot to the head. The gunman then runs away. Within seconds, Lennon is motionless on the pavement with his face up in a pool of his own blood.
Last night, just at about 7:30, police were called to Welch Alley, where they observed a male person lying fear zone. He was identified as Giovanni Lennon. He had apparent gunshot wounds to his body.
Lennon had just left work at the National Fire Service on Cleghorn Street, where he was assigned to training a group of volunteer recruits. A firefighter for over 8 years, Lennon had recently passed a promotional exam and was to move up the ranks. But his life was cut short. The news spread like wildfire and his co-workers remained in disbelief. Ty Bradley and Lennon were not only co-workers, they both played basketball with National Elite Basketball League. Lennon played with the Grigga Ballers. Although on opposing teams, Bradley says they were good friends.
I'm going on the basketball court and chill out and leave it with a couple of my friends, and we were there, and the next thing I know, we get a call that something happened to Barney, and I was like, no, it can't be, because I just left on work, no? And that was when I get the news. That was sad. That was sad news to me, man. I never like that. You know, I'm a nice guy. You know, never no bad guy to me. You know, never no gunman, nothing like that. You know, I'm a co-worker of mine and nice guy. Everybody know him as a good guy. And that me kind of bad. I still try to get over that news there, because then I did work right now and everything just happens sudden like that.
From what I know of him, and every day you see him, he's always, hi chief, how's it going? And he's very soft-spoken, so I know that part, but there was never any, signs of any trouble for us.
A police officer who was in the vicinity responded to the shooting and set chase behind the gunman. He fired a single shot at the gunman, who scaled the fence to the Rogers Stadium, but was soon after captured inside the compound. That suspect, who is expected to be charged within 24 hours, is no stranger to the law and was recently charged in connection with the murder of Lyndon Bailey. Superintendent Alejandro Coa says that while the police were able to apprehend the suspect, the murder weapon has not been found.
A police officer was in the immediate area. He heard a gunshot and he proceeded to that location. And as he was approaching that area, he saw a male person running from the scene with a firearm on his hand. He ordered the male person to stop. However, the person raised his hand and pointed a firearm at his direction. And as a result, the police pulled out his service firearm and fired a shot at the male person, who thereafter ran through some houses, through a construction site, and then jumped into the Rogers Stadium, where he was later caught by police officers. Yes, he is known to us. I know that he has been dealt with previously for also a shooting that happened by Youth of the Future Drive. I know that those charges were withdrawn from him, and only one person is in remand at this moment for that murder. Last night we did a thorough search of the entire area. However, we were unsuccessful in finding a firearm. I know that police officers were there early this morning and we're still trying to canvass that area to see if we can locate that firearm there.
So what could have triggered the crime? Lennon is a law-abiding citizen, but police say they are looking at all angles to determine the motive.
We are still trying to establish the exact motive. As we know, as you had mentioned, Mr. Lennon was a person who, from his work to his house, and he associates with people of good character. We have not have any indication of him of being a gang member or doing things out of the law, no? But we are following several leads that can possibly tell us what is the motive behind his death.
Sir, might it have been of a domestic or personal nature that somebody may have, escalated what might have been a personal dispute or so into something that why man have to dead?
Well, we are looking at that information likewise as people are commenting. That is one of the angles that we're looking at, and we are looking at other angles that we also have.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Well-known Belicity barber and cab driver Ursula Mendoza, known by many as Dread or Barba, was manhandled by a pair of policemen attached to the Special Patrol Unit on Wednesday. The incident happened inside his barber shop on Mahogany Street, where the officers parked in front of the establishment to conduct a search. According to Mendoza, they then entered the wooden building and demanded that his 15-year-old son and another individual exit the premises in order to be searched. He held on to the teenager before telling the officers to leave the building. Mendoza alleges that the officers then began to rough him up. The incident was recorded from several angles by onlookers who appeared on the scene of the commotion. Mendoza has offered details of the beatdown by the officers inside the barbershop, as well as the precinct where they later took him.
Yesterday I came from Cayo, about 25 minutes upon arrival, reaching here, opened my barber shop, me and my 15-year-old son. One client, one young man come in, cut it here. He sit down there. I never set up my stuff as yet. I had to get ready to prepare my stuff. I don't know what the police see or what are the intentions. I know the mobile stop outside to search one young man. Then one of the officers then come inside and then tell the two, my son and the other boy, to get up and search, right? I haul my son one side and tell the man, boss, this is my son. Young man, you could step outside. You check, this is my son, and we just come from Cayo. That's what I said to the police officer, right? Anyway, the police shoved my son outside, and he come in here and start grab things and grab stuff and the turnover stuff. He never tell me that he come cause search for gun or ammunition or anything of the sort. He never give me no definition that he come here can search my barber shop for any reason. And I come from far, can work hard. I don't want any police plant or put nothing in my shop. So I tell the man if you come out of my shop, in a verbal way. I tell him get the R out of my shop because you have no rights in here. The man don't give me no indication that he can search for drugs, ammunition, nothing. The man just come in here to dig up my place. Yes, I see the conduct search out there. But I'm a law-abiding citizen and I work hard for my children. I come far, come work, nothing can get abused in my business. Yes, when the police then come in here, he grab me in my shirt here, so. And when he grab me in my shirt now, I grab his hand and I start tell him leg on me, the chance me, they grab me for no reason, and I tell him leg on my hand, because they grab me for no reason, right? When I tell him leg on my hand, I had to try lose his hand, he start to struggle with me and they try to manpower me.
And grab you in a shirt?
Yeah, because I tell him to get the R out of my shop. Okay. The man grab me and tell me who I string me up, who I talk to, and I go in. I tell him, you know, carry me no way, because I've done nothing, I've done no wrong.
The encroachment into Belizean territory was as clear as daylight when we visited Barrio El Juda on the western border on Thursday. Guatemalan families have settled there and their community continues to grow on land that is owned by businessman Jorge Espat. Espat is of the view that the longer it takes to move the Guatemalans from his land, the more challenging the situation becomes. In fact, on Thursday, when it got heated, the tables turned on him and he was asked by the settlers to provide them with the title to the land, which has been for generations in his family. Today, we have more details on the situation in the West.
It was life as usual on Thursday when we visited Barrio El Juda along the western border. Fenced residences connected to the grid and equipped with running water were indication that this small Guatemalan community has been properly established. Barrio El Juda community consists of about 30 Guatemalan families who cut logwood and grow animals like chicken and pigs for their table, and their garbage is dumped in Belize. The community forms part of Melchor de Mencos, but since the year 2000, residents of this growing community have erected permanent structures on Belizean land, initially under impression that it was Guatemalan territory. That belief is based on this road. At this point, the road represents the border between both countries, but some yards further north, The road is blocked by this cement structure. The road continues into Belizean territory, and as it continues north, it veers further into Belize. And this is what the residents here do not believe.
Su cerco pasa hasta allá adentro porque su cerco creo que está tiene palos de giote.
In fact, they believe that there is an imaginary border between Belize and Guatemala.
No.
Pongamos, vamos en Salvador y Belice y México. Hay una línea que tiene como 26 metros de ancho. Además están los muros de cemento grandes. Esa es una línea visual.
Using Google Maps, the blue dot is us. The dotted line represents the border. You see clearing and you see houses well within Belize. The OAS has verified that the Guatemalans are in Belize. They have illegally settled in Belize in a land owned by Belizean businessman Jorge Espat, who says that this property has been in his family for 3 generations. Some of the Guatemalans claim that they have papers for their land but fail to produce any documents. This lady, however, demands to see Espat's title.
Sí, señora. ¿Usted tiene sus escrituras?
Porque mire, el alcalde nos dijo a nosotros, ¿cuándo? De que usted presente sus papeles. Ajá, que haya el alcalde y porque vino el gobernador.
Sí, yo sé que vino a visitar.
Sí, mire, por ahí hay unos mojones.
Mire,
yo creo que por ahí está su línea.
Mire, señor.
Espat has repeatedly informed the Guatemalans that they are not only in Belize but on his property. Evicting them could turn out to be risky because, as we saw on Thursday, these Guatemalans have no intentions to move.
It's very risky. I mean, of course, they will put up a fight. And there again, it's sad because then, I mean, as far as I see it, we don't have the assistance from government.
But the government, through a press release, has stated that the Ministry of National Security, in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the OAS, has been actively taking steps to address the issue. Government says that actions have been taken to ensure the immediate discontinuation of illegal settlements in that area.
I hope the government can intervene and as quick as possible. They say that, and as you all can see with the press release, they are trying to do their part. And I understand it takes, I mean, through diplomacy, it takes its own time and its own course. But the longer we wait, the more incursion. I mean, at the end of the day, the more buildings erected. I mean, more people coming in. So it's something that we need to move, I mean, quick. I mean, believe that perhaps maybe a solution is to start to populate all the borderline, right? And then there we will have a better control. The house in question, there was a comment passed on, and I told them that I can give them that piece of property for them to base the BDF there, right? I had brought that up for them to the table, right? And then there would be protection on our side as well. I mean, they said no because of the agreement of the OAS, every erection, whatever erection or properties that or whatever investment needs to come down.
Reporting for News 5, Hipólito Novello.
Joining the trip on to the western border on Thursday was firebrand activist and former COLA president Giovanni Brackett. Brackett saw the developing Guatemalan community that has been inching its way into Belizean territory. He says that Espat's land problem is a national issue that needs the urgent attention of the government of Belize.
When the mayor of Melchor can actually give out lands that is within Belizean territory, and for what we've seen, these people have not been able to produce any title. It's a very serious issue, and this now is affecting an individual owner, but this has become a national issue because what we've been told that further down there are more incidents such as these. It also tells us that the government needs to do better in terms of how they're taking care of this territory, Belizean territory around the borderline. We know what is alarming here is because it appears that the 1 kilometer either direction into either country that's supposed to form the adjacency zone, from what I thought when that was established, that was to sort of no property or nothing was built in that area because it's disputed territory. However, we've seen clearly that these Guatemalans are building structures and permanent structures having light, water, running water. So their government is promoting this, and our government should do its best to protest this action. And so to be calling Mr. Espat impatient, it's not impatient. Their family has owned these properties for 3 generations. And every time an election goes on in Guatemala, there are pressures such as these because politicians are giving away land into our territory.
Nefertari Nancy Marin is the leader of the recently formed Belize People's Front. Marin was also present during Thursday's trip to the Barrio El Juda along Belize's side of the border with Guatemala. Marin says that the illegal Guatemalan encroachment on Espat's land is not a problem he can address on his own. She says that the government must act quickly before the situation worsens.
It's rightly said that Mrs. Espat cannot do this alone, but that is why we are here. Our government and the OAS has failed us. The OAS mandate is to keep the peace, to put in measures so that this doesn't happen. But also I call on our security forces. They should be tracking our territory. We have a dispute on our territory, not just in this small area, but in our country. So we should be tracking our border lines. I don't know what they're doing. But on our side, we say we stand firmly with Mrs. Espat and with any other Belizean that will be suffering this. We have other Belizeans that own land on this side of the border, and we don't know yet if they're suffering the same. We have to look into that and figure out, but for sure he cannot stand alone. So I make a call also to every Belizean and say this is not just Mr. Espat being violated. Belizeans are being violated, and we should take that very personal, and we should bring that to government. Belizeans need to put pressure on our government and on the OAS. Send letters, send notes, write to them, call them, tell them something, because if we sit, like Mr. Espat said, like sitting ducks, today it's Mr. Espat, tomorrow it might be any of us that live by the borderline.
The government has moved to establish fixed prices for the sale of liquefied petroleum gas, known as LPG, beginning this Saturday. The fixed prices are to prevent predatory pricing by major importers who are said to have engaged in an act of driving prices down below the maximum ceiling for retail and wholesale of LPG. The fix is temporary, but the government says it is critical to keep local operators of LPG in business. Earlier this year, an agreement between the government and stakeholders of the National Gas Company was signed to formalize the industry. Following the passage of the legislation, representatives from 3 butane companies, namely Belize Western Energy Limited, Gastomsa, and Southern Choice Butane, Zeta Gas, met with Prime Minister Dean Barrow to discuss their discontent with the new company because they say they have invested millions of dollars in the industry. Prime Minister Dean Barrow counters them, saying that the National Gas Company will be providing high-quality butane at the cheapest price to Belizeans. Coming up, the Ministry of Health still unable to restock antiretroviral drugs needed by persons affected by HIV/AIDS. The procurement of antiretroviral medication for persons living with HIV/AIDS continues to be an issue for the Ministry of Health. For months, the ministry has been battling with a shortage of the medication, and persons affected have been at risk. Despite receiving a shipment of drugs from Costa Rica, the ministry is still trying to find an alternative supplier since purchasing the badly needed meds from India is proving to be difficult. The Minister of Health, Pablo Marin, says the government is doing all within its means to source and acquire the medication from another market.
We are trying our best. If you know, I did sign for Costa Rica to lend us some of their products. We did get it. We have to give them back. But right now, the production of it is, I think, limited. We are trying all sources. We have went with PAHO. We have went to Mexican side to see if we can get it. We are trying our best because we know it's something that we need, and we have tried our best. And like we mentioned before, the antiretroviral that we have, it's for everybody and it's free, and we try our people to live longer. So we are working on that. My DHS is doing everything possible, and if we need to sign another or loan for the retrovirals, then we will do that.
Is it a possibility that perhaps these medications can be sourced from another market as opposed to solely from India?
Remember, what we buy is through PAHO because PAHO has the contacts, and they do all the diligence in providing us the right medication. So, but yes, we are still looking around to see where we can buy.
John and Sheldon Greenidge were freed on Thursday for the murder of 32-year-old Mariano Castillo. Crown Counsel Portia Stain Ferguson entered a nolle prosequi since a witness could not be located. The trial started on weak legs since Camisha Roches, an eyewitness and Castillo's girlfriend at the time, recanted the statement that she gave to the police. Justice Colin Williams also determined that a statement from Roches was inadmissible since he was not convinced that Roches had written the statement. With little to no evidence, Justice Williams then discharged the Greenidge brothers. In the morning of January 30th, 2016, Mariano Castillo, a former resident of Georgetown Village, Sand Creek District, was fatally stabbed while walking with his girlfriend on Mahogany Street, extension in Belize City. There is fresh information tonight in respect of a proposal by former City Administrator Candice Miller to the Belize City Council. Pending an appeal, Miller has proposed to stop the crowfooting of the City Council's assets upon payment by the City Council of $200,000 in installments between November 20th and January 30th of 2020. The first tranche is for $50,000. Thereafter, there are 4 payments of $25,000. The last payment of $50,000 is to be made at the end of January. The council has been ordered by the court to pay Miller close to $400,000 for wrongful termination. On Thursday, the Belize Police Department held a meeting with about 25 registered gun dealers in the country. That meeting, led by Commissioner of Police Chester Williams, covered a number of proposed gun control measures which could come into effect as early as next year. The amendment to the Firearms Act, which include a revision of the number of ammunition a dealer can sell, are still under review. But another proposed change that is expected to go through is the reduction in the gun license fees for security companies. Earlier this year, that fee was drastically increased by 100%, but now the parties involved want to bring it back down as early as January of next year. Here's how Williams explains it.
We had a number of complaints from security companies in a sense that they were not able to pay the increase in fees. The fees were increased by 100%. And for us, it makes good sense in a sense that here we are in a society where we're seeing that crime and violence is occurring. Businesses are being robbed, and we are increasing the fee for security companies to have firearms. Now, with the increase on a security company, they will have to pass that increase on to the consumers, which is the store that they are providing security for. And then the store will in turn pass that on to the lower consumers. But In some cases, you find that due to the increase by the security companies, the little stores cannot afford security anymore. So that store is then left vulnerable. So for us, you cannot be saying to businesses, higher security, and on the other hand, you're increasing the fee to make it more difficult for them to hire security. So I brought the matter to the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security, and they both agreed that the fee should be reverted back to where it once was. And the matter was tabled to Cabinet last week, and I have been briefed that it has been approved. So effective January 1st next year, the security company fees will be reverted back to its original position, and we're hoping that with that we'll be able to see more and more businesses being able to hire security to provide security for their respective places.
One of the issues covered during the meeting was the storage of the firearms. Commissioner of Police Williams says that remains a high priority, and they continue to carry out monthly inspections to ensure that dealers meet the safety requirements. As you can recall, back in February, thieves broke into firearms dealer Victor L. Bryant and stole a trove of firearm and ammunition, some of which were recovered. In light of that, the business's license was immediately put under review, and to date it has remained under view. On Thursday, Williams gave us an update in that case.
That is a very high issue, high priority issue, because we want to ensure that whenever a gun dealer is issued a gun dealer's license, that he meets all the safety requirements. We cannot have gun dealers storing firearms in places that would not be safe enough to house the type of weapons or weaponry that they would have on the premises. And so Mr. Galate's license is still under review. It is not over yet. We should be meeting next week, I believe, with his attorney and customs to see where we go from there. But there are a number of discrepancies. I have directed Mr. Ramirez to do an inspection last week to see how the place is now. That inspection has been done, and Mr. Galate was given some additional recommendation that he needs to do. And once he complies with those requirements, then we will see where we go from there in terms of his license.
While with the fire chief earlier today, the media got an update on the Independence Day fire on Keycocker, during which one person lost his life in the blaze. Elmer Chub, a mechanic from San Jose Village, Orange Walk, perished in the fire that erupted inside a two-story commercial building, which housed Nando's golf cart rentals and apartments. A total of 14 persons were also displaced by the inferno. 2 months later, Colin Gentle reports that the fire was caused by a candle in a room adjacent to the one in which Chub was found.
The police, linked with our investigation, and it started in one of the rooms, because remember that building had smaller rooms at the bottom. It started in one of the corners in the rear. Apparently, it was due to a candle, I think that's what they said. So somebody fell asleep, the candle lit, and just went from there. That's as much as we know that happened.
How much of an exacerbating factor was the fact that there was some confusion, according to the village chair lady, with BL being able to de-energize the lines?
Well, remember this, if you've ever been to Keycocker and see all these power lines, right, it made it very difficult for a lot of the people who are throwing water, right, to not shock themselves. And so I don't want to say that it was a factor that stopped everything, but BL has its procedures, and they have to carry out their procedures before that stuff, they can actually out the electricity off of it.
But are you all able to firefight with hoses and water when the lines are energized?
Well, our firefighters are very professional, and they know exactly how they're supposed to attack it. That's why in that fire we had the truck on one side and another truck was on the other side to attack it from different fronts.
Fire Chief Colin Gillett was recently appointed to the position after career firefighter and former Chief Ted Smith retired. Gillett, like Smith's predecessors, did not move up the ranks of the department and had been seen as an outsider. Gillett has his master's degree in natural resource management, and so he was asked today of how that ties into running the National Fire Service. He says that his appointment wasn't without pushback from employees, but they are working it out.
In everything, there's some grumblings, but I think in the last 3 months since I've been here, I've been able to show them that, by looking at the effectiveness or the efficiencies that they've not been doing and providing them with the tools that they have actually needed to a level where they're supposed to be, that pushback has been a lot less. This position as fire chief is about management. Natural resource management, which is my background. I don't actually manage natural resources. I manage the people who use the natural resources. Similar in this position, I don't actually have to know how to fight the fire, which I'm learning, but there are people here who are firefighters who've been doing it for years. I now manage how they get their jobs done. I look for the efficiencies. I look for how to be more effective. And if you look at the history of all the fire chiefs that were here, for the last 4 of them, Mr. Baiza, Briggs, Thomas, and Smith, of those 4, only Mr. Smith was the actual firefighter. The others came from BDF. Right. So the need for you to say that you have to be a firefighter to do this job, that's to be the chief, then no.
It is well documented that there is need for additional equipment and fire trucks for the National Fire Service to adequately firefight in times of disasters. On Thursday, the Corozal branch of the department, which falls under the Ministry of Transport and National Emergency Management, was officially handed over a dated second-hand fire truck. The donation was made by the Calgary Firefighters Association through the Calgary Fire Department in Alberta, Canada. Today, Fire Chief Colin Gillett told News 5 that this is the first of many trucks that the government is sourcing.
These trucks that they have, that the Calgary Fire Department is retiring, they have not a lot of miles, and they are serviced before we actually get them. So we are very thankful to them for donating this one. They have indicated that they have another 10 that the government has, or we are looking at buying, so that we can change out all of the older ones that we have all around the country. That one is just one. We're hoping to get another 3 by next year and go from there. Across there, we just got another donation from the firefighters across borders or without borders, and that one is actually in rotation right now.
The fire truck is a 2000 Model E1 Superior Cyclone pumper truck with a Hale Q Max 1500 GPM side mount pump, a 750-gallon tank, and a 50-gallon foam cell. It has seating for 7 firefighters. After the break, BEL opens a permanent branch on San Pedro where energy demands continue to grow.
We were born for all.
In this season of KTV Latino, you can vote for your favorite contestant by using your Digiphone or your smartphone. Digi users will text only the contestant's number and send to 5888. Each text sent is equal to 1 vote, so text as many times as you want. Smart users will text the number of votes followed by a space, then the contestant's number and send to 5885. Here are this week's contestants.
Como la flor, con tanto amor, me diste tú, se marchito.
Las muchachas lindas no quieren bailar, están esperando a ser el bailador, porque tiene gracia para moverse con sabor, y a ella le gusta como las mueve el señor.
No llores por mí, no llores mi vida, no llores así.
Remember, voting ends on Sunday at midnight. KTV Latino Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
KTV Latino.
In the prime tourism island of San Pedro, this morning BEL opened its first permanent branch office. With record tourism numbers, the utility company recognizes the need to keep up with the growing consumption of energy. Today, BEL officials were on the island where there is also a demand for green energy solutions.
A new branch office opened its doors to residents of San Pedro this morning, as Belize Electricity Limited continues to expand its services on Ambergris Key. With a growing demand for energy on the island, the utility company has had to measure up, and do so meant establishing itself permanently on Pescador Drive.
We're very, very excited about this new office. It really symbolizes our commitment to expand our services and improve our services to our customers. This office building cost approximately about $700,000 to be constructed. It was done in almost record time, and we're happy to say that this is the first of many changes to our infrastructure to be able to serve our customers more efficiently throughout the entire country.
The electrification of the island before the tourism boom is a story that is being handed down in oral tradition, from one generation of San Pedranos to the other. That narrative is being passed on by Mayor Daniel Guerrero, whose history of La Isla Bonita goes back many decades to when it was just a fishing village.
In just under 100 years, 79 years to be specific, we have gone from running a small generator installed in March of 1931 to a company that is serving thousands in the tourism mecca of Belize and the region. You may not know this, but the first source of electricity on Ambergris Key was installed by a German in March of 1931, when we were still in the copra industry. But as our economic base evolved, so was the need to upgrade our electrical source. 20 years later, Mr. Jim Blake decided to invest in a larger electrical generator at a location called El Astillero, in English, the shipyard. That new generator powered 20 to 25 families in the then San Pedro fishing village. But perhaps the major boost came when Caribbean Fishing Cooperative was formed, and the demands for proper storage for the marine products became essentially paramount.
The transition from fossil fuel to clean energy has also been a major focus for businesses in San Pedro, as more and more hotels and restaurants are going green.
And we find that customers in San Pedro, like any other tourist destination, are looking for more green energy solutions. So these customers in San Pedro and other tourist destinations are looking for solar solutions to make their businesses more green. We all understand that the tourism market is very, very popular for green energy hotels and destinations. So one of the primary needs that they have is to convert their energy to green energy solutions. Another area that we find that residents of San Pedro is really, really interested in, as we mentioned earlier, is the conversion of these golf carts that you see traversing the island, these fossil fuel golf carts, to be converted back to electricity golf carts.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isana Cayetano.
19-year-old Leon Morales is majoring in chemistry and math at the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus in Trinidad and Tobago. He is the most outstanding candidate in this year's CAPE examinations, having scored 8 grade 1s and 2s. A past student of Corozal Junior College, Morales is the winner of the Belize Scholarship 2019. News 5 has spoken with Morales by phone, who shared the excitement of having earned the prestigious distinction for Belize.
When I found out about it, I was pretty much excited, but I just excited and thankful because to begin, I need to acknowledge that it wasn't just my achievement. It had the input of my parents, my family, my teachers, and the administrative staff of TJC. But overall, I'm so excited as I know I worked hard for it.
I would want to think that you spent many sleepless nights studying and reviewing the notes that were given in the course of, your high school and your sixth form years. What was that like? And were you nervous preparing to sit the exams?
Like with any exam, you can't be too confident. So I always feel like I'm nervous before sitting exam. But after I put in the countless hours, the nervousness is a little less because I know that I should be ready. If I did everything right, then the outcome should be okay.
And what has it been like for you transitioning to studying abroad in Trinidad as opposed to being here in Belize where you have your family and friends and that support system around?
For the most part, the lack of the support system, in the first days it feels a little dramatic because you're used to having them there, but overall the work remains basically the same.
Former Lake Eye UDP area representative Mark King on Thursday let loose questioning the quality of candidates running for the high posts in the UDP. King was highly critical and says that the party has to make some changes to its recruitment process. King himself had offered to run for party chairman, but his application was rejected. So we asked him about his status with the party. Here's what he had to say about the rejection of his application and where he stands with the UDP.
Well, I'm always a member of the UDP. They have classed it that I am not a good standing member. I haven't been given any specific reason for that. I'm in consultants with my attorneys right now on the way forward in regards to the policy of the UDP towards their candidate manual, and two, in regards to my rights under the Constitution of Belize to be afforded my rights, meaning that the party cannot just cast me out and you do it for nothing or you do it for personal reasons. That's absolutely no reasons. So I take my fights very slow at a time, but as far as I'm concerned, the UDP is bigger than just 2 people or 3 people, and I am very good with my party colleagues and friends all the time. I keep on saying that I am not the one fighting my party. They are the ones telling me I can't run. I have to try to sort that out with my attorney and see what direction we go. And like I said, I am one of the least one rushing to get into power. I know what power feels like, and it's not something that I'm hurried for. I joined politics to help people, and I continue to say that.
When we come back, Caribbean Shrimps launches a green vessel called the Mangrove Maiden.
You've worked hard your whole life building your future.
Mangroves serve many important functions for coastal communities. They act as a watershed and provide storm surge protection as well as land stabilization. They also provide habitat for fish, birds, and reptiles and also act as water filters. There is one company that wants to highlight the importance of this valuable ecosystem through educational tours. Today, the Caribbean Shrimp Farm officially launched the tour with a ribbon-cutting ceremony of its green vessel called the Mangrove Maiden. According to the company, the natural mangrove forest around the shrimp farm has helped to make them one of the oldest shrimp farms in the country, where they produce 100,000 pounds of organic shrimp per year. So they want to help raise awareness and provide a leisure cruise on the lagoon for visitors. Reporter Andrea Polanco tells us more.
The Caribbean Shrimp Farm in Ladyville has launched an eco-friendly zero-emissions tour of the lagoon and coastal areas of the farm. The tour will give visitors a close look at mature mangroves, where they can learn about the value of this dynamic ecosystem to Belize. General Manager Heather McIntosh says that this new addition to their business is in line with the shrimp company's environmentally friendly operations.
We have this opportunity to launch the first ever solar-powered Mangrove Maiden Lagoon Tour for here in Belize. It's a very, very unique thing to offer on our Caribbean Shrimp Company organic shrimp farm. What we're trying to do here at Caribbean Shrimp is to expose Belizeans as well as our guests and our visitors to all the wonderful things that Belize has to offer. We are eco-friendly, we're environmentally sustainable. We are looking at things like organic, natural. The mangrove is what makes our farm successful. The mangrove is what filters our water. The mangrove is what holds our ponds together so we don't have erosion. It's extremely important.
The vessel, called the Mangrove Maiden, uses solar-powered batteries. Its electric motor also makes it a quiet means of transportation on the waters. These two features, according to McIntosh, help to prevent the disturbance of our coastal zone.
This boat tour is kind of one of the beginning components of that, because it lets us use the sun to power. So there's no emissions, there's no chemicals, there's no fuel, none of that. We just let the sun charge our batteries. We run electric motors, so it's a very quiet, very natural, I've got bees attacking me. Very natural, leisurely tour of the mangrove.
To take the tour, you will need to visit the shrimp farm's property in Ladyville. From there, you will board the Mangrove Maiden, where you will journey through a natural channel and a lake, where you can see the red, white, and black mangroves. McIntosh says that this tour is for everyone, but birders and photographers may want to take a visit because the coastal zone attracts a variety of wildlife.
It's about an hour long, and it takes you all the way through this internal mangrove lagoon out to the sea and back. And while you're on the tour, you'll see a lot of birds. We actually have quite a few rare and unique birds here. We're one of the top birding destinations in the whole country. You'll see crocodiles, you'll see fish, all kinds of natural things, butterflies, bats, and just mangrove in a way you've never seen it before. We did a trip the other day with some tour guides, and they couldn't believe the size of the mangrove. They'd never seen one that big. So it's a very mature mangrove forest that you rarely would have that opportunity to get right up close to.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.
The tours are available on weekend and will be extended to daily trips next year. You can take advantage of a reduced price of $20 per tour, but that fee will double during the high tourist season. For more information, you can contact the Caribbean Shrimp Farm. On November 13th, we told you about the Belize Institute of Environmental Law and Policy concerns about the state of the McCall River. In that story, Belpo's Candy Gonzalez made several allegations about the state of the river and claimed that hold and release of water at the dam was responsible for erosion and accumulation of rotting vegetation. Today, BCOL responded to say that Belpo's statements are not true and provided a point-by-point clarification, which we air tonight. BCOL says that the erosion is being caused by deforestation, that deforestation and increased farming, according to BCOL, are also the sources of the rotting trees and plant debris downstream, as well as the turbid waters. BCOL points out that the land clearing debris upstream of the dam is stopped at the dam where they clear it out. It also notes that the mud and sedimentation resulted from the heavy rains and floods in recent weeks and couldn't have been caused by the dam since upstream debris didn't make it past the dams. BECO asserts that their operations have never caused any problems to the fish, nor did it contribute to a lack of water following the flood. Coming up after the break, the Belize Jaguars still on the road to qualify for the 2021 Gold Cup. Next stop, Grenada.
Na 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 na.
The Belize Jaguars faced off with French Guiana on Thursday night in Belmopan in the CONCACAF Nations League. At the end of the 90-minute game, Belize won 2-0. An early goal by Ian Lewis and a second goal by Dean McCauley secured the win for Belize. You may recall Belize was not able to travel to French Guiana in early September for that country's home game and had to forfeit that match. But the team showed up and showed out last night. According to the coach of the national team, the French Guiana team was a formidable opponent, but the Belize Jaguars played hard and smart. Here's more from the team at the FFB.
They have 6, 7 players that are playing professionally in French in England. So the quality of the players that are very high. The rank in FIFA of French Guiana is 141, if I'm no mistake. We play again one strong team. I know that them quality was to the right back and the left back. They play with this 4-2-3-1 that they like to switch the ball to the right and left sides of the field to make the field more open space to the wings. Then we cover well to our middle. Jan Lewis and Hamilton, they do a really good job.
The game was intense and the goal that I scored was at least about 3 minutes in the game, and I see the play like cause the next midfielder. I see when he push the ball and I reach and I try my best to finish and I get the goal.
Now, the match overall, you said it was intense. Talk to us about the level of play that you saw from the French Guiana team.
Well, to me, they control the game, like, position wise. But the goal, Macaulay goal, then when Macaulay scored, the game, I know that the game was over because that killed them more.
What do you think Team Belize did to win that game last night?
Well, hard work, put in the training grounds, the coach come with a strategy, and we execute.
It's been a while since I saw Team Belize play so well. Of course, our backs were against the wall. We had to win that game last night to keep alive. And so with that win, we are now placing second in our group. So it was a huge win for us.
And less than 24 hours after that win, today the Belize Jaguars hopped on a flight to travel to Grenada. The team will spend the overnight in Miami and arrive in Grenada on Saturday. They will face off with Grenada's national team on Sunday in the CONCACAF Nations League tournament. Here's what the Belize Jaguars spoke with us about the upcoming match.
Just yesterday we played 90 minutes and we know that in this kind of competition the second step of the match will be very hard to play, so I will adapt the right thinking to make sure that my player they have 90 minutes in the leg.
What's the makeup of this team? Is it a mix of the veteran players and some of the young new ones?
Yeah, sure. We select the new one. The middle yesterday was playing with part of Nana, that 30 years old, but we was playing with. We finished the game with 25, Carl Lins and Mavitt 25, 23. So both of two they have a young future for national team. We put in also Desmond that even 21 years old. We have new player and we have also veteran, especially in defensive line, because I believe that the experience, especially in defensive lines, we need in this important competition. We prepare the game from tomorrow, mentality, because this team Grenada, they get only 2 goals. They are a very quality team, they play many years together. So the defensive line is very compact. They play with this 4-4-2 and 4-2-3-1. They switch the coach, as parent coach they have. So we will try to make the best result for go forward in this competition.
Do you expect it to be an intense game?
Of course, yes, because that is their home field, and to beat someone on their home field is very tough, right? But we're well focused right now, and we're looking forward to our win.
What do you think Team Belize would need to do on that field to win that game?
Like the game we played yesterday, have an early goal and try, position the ball and, play our game and be comfortable.
The team will arrive back in country on Tuesday. So Belize won a match on Thursday night and they have another game on Sunday in the CONCACAF Nations League. These games are to help qualify for the 2021 Gold Cup. Vice President of the FFB, Marlon Quillen, says that Belize needs that win in Grenada. He breaks it down for us to understand where Belize falls in the standing in this series of games to get to the Gold Cup.
CONCACAF has 41 members as their 41 countries as their members. We are playing what we call the Nations League, and the 41 countries are playing for 16 spots in the Gold Cup 2021. Now, the teams are all grouped into 3 leagues. So you have League A, who the top countries are in, League B, which Belize is in, and then League C, which is a lower bracket. 8 teams from the League A, the 8 winners, automatically qualify for the Gold Cup. Then 4 the League B has 4 groups. So the winners of those 4 groups then automatically qualify. So that's 12 teams. The remaining 4 spots are are played between the four second place teams in League B, and then it's the winners of Group C. So Grenada has already won the group that we're in, so they automatically qualify. Belize now, with a win in Grenada, will come in second in the group, so we move forward, we advance.
So, is there a certain goal difference that they need to win by, or they just need to win that match?
Just a win. Just a win will put us in. Looking
at the team from Grenada, what do you think our chances are? Is that a very strong team that we're going to face?
Well, first of all, there is tremendous parity in the group. For instance, Grenada has won the group, yes. But the other three teams that are remaining, all of us still have a chance of going forward. Now, Grenada, being that they already won the group, they have nothing more to play for. So I'm predicting that rather than risk injuries to key players, that they will be using some of their substitutes. So that increases our chances against them.
What do you think the team needs to do?
Remain focused. Remain focused on the job at hand. No distractions. It's tough when they played such a difficult match last night and have to travel today. And then they won't reach Grenada until tomorrow evening at 4 o'clock. So it's the recovery is very important. They need to rest, drink a lot of fluids, and so forth. But the main thing is to remain focused and make Belize proud of them.
Turning to the local competition in volleyball, championship games concluded just a few minutes ago at the Civic Center in Belize City. Belize Elementary School of Belize City and San Marcos RC from Cayo faced off in the final round of the National Primary School Championships. In the end, Belize Elementary won. In the male category, Holy Redeemer Primary School came out on top, beating the team from St. Matthew's Anglican in Stann Creek. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports on the tournament today.
A total of 12 teams, 6 girls and 6 boys from across the country, were represented today at the National Primary School Volleyball Championships hosted by the National Sports Council in Belize City. The Civic Center and the Stars Gym were the venue for games for the boys and girls respectively. It is the best of the best that competed today, says National Sports Coordinator Kaya Katus.
To have gotten to this point, they have to have played in their respective districts, the tournaments, and be the champions. To be able to represent their district here at the Nationals today. I must say that volleyball, with the help of Ms. Lupita Kwan, has definitely grew over the last couple of years, and at the Sports Council we are happy to harness the talent from this level.
The defending champions in the male category did not make it back to the finals, and so 2018 silver medalists from Holy Redeemer Primary School in Belize City were out for redemption. With some of its players having recently returned from the Kadikadir Games as regional champions, the team was highly motivated and showed in their skills and execution during matches today. Elton Anderson is the team's coach.
It's redemption, like I've been telling the guys all week with the training. It's like we felt like we left something here, so we have to come back for it this year. We did everything. We haven't lost a set yet, we haven't lost a game yet all the way up to now, so we have to win this year.
Talk to us about the motivation, because I understand that some of your players actually just came back from a regional tournament where you guys played.
Well, the motivation is very high. Four out of my 12 players just came back with me from Costa Rica receiving gold medal in the under 13 tournament. So the standard is very high for the team. They hold each other accountable and they hold all other players accountable as well.
What would you say is the ingredient or the secret to playing good volleyball, you having represented our country as well on the international stage?
Well, at this level, first off, it has to be, the kids has to be dedicated. Most parents are very supported and very supportive, and we as coach also, we train very hard. We set a standard for the kids, not only with the sports, with grades. You have to maintain a certain grade to play on the team with us. So everything together and the support that we have been given, I believe that is the key ingredients to winning.
In the female category, Belize Elementary School, who is representing the Belize district this year, came out trailblazing. Its captain, 12-year-old Giselle Alamia, is formidable and guided her team to victory. She has been playing the sport since Standard 3 and is precise in her delivery. After taking out the Corozal team, Alamia spoke to News 5. She says it's about discipline and teamwork.
It's a lot of pressure, but we
could keep it inside of us and still put it away. Once we start the game, we could get rid of all our fears and we just play volleyball.
Now, you guys are once again the top two teams that will head off to determine who is going to win overall. What's your anticipation for it?
I'm excited, and I know everyone's excited for it. We're gonna head over to Civic right now to go, and we're gonna play hard and tough. So yeah.
Talk to us about leading a team. You're the captain, and what does it take to lead, in your opinion, to lead a team?
You have to keep a straight face. Don't show fear. You have to show everyone that they could do it. Every time I tell them good try, because you can't get every ball, so then everyone makes mistakes.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
And that's the news. Don't forget that tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Charlie Hutchinson. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, have a happy and safe weekend. Good night.